Your body needs electrolytes to run efficiently, but do you really need to be supplementing extra electrolytes every day? Science says maybe not, or at least not quite the way that the current media is pushing us on these electrolytes. So obviously your electrolytes are important. You need things like sodium to help with nerve signaling. You need electrolytes like sodium, calcium, chlorides to keep your cells at the right osmotic pressure by balancing the amount of ions inside and outside of the cell. Magnesium is really important to serve as a cofactor for a lot of enzymes or the molecular machines inside your cells that keep all the processes running. But do we really need to be supplementing these electrolytes? As long as we're hydrating and eating a healthy diet, do we actually have the right amount of electrolytes? And the answer is it kind of depends. Looking at a lot of the data in the literature, the adequate intake for a couple of these compared to how much people are taking in can kind of give us some guidelines as to if we actually need to supplement these electrolytes. So for sodium and chloride, so your table salt, sodium chloride, NaCl, the adequate intake that you need to be taking in is on the order of about 3.8 grams a day. And the amount that people take in is around 3.5. And so we're really not that far off. Maybe you would supplement a little more, or maybe you just eat a food that's a little saltier, but your diet is probably handling most of the sodium that you need. But for something like potassium, there are numbers saying that you need about 4.7 grams a day, and most people only get about 3 grams a day. So it might help to give yourself some more potassium. And magnesium, similarly, people need on the order of 300 to 400 a day, where people only take in about 200 or 300 milligrams a day. And so there are some scenarios where you might need to supplement these, but you might not need that super sodium heavy drink that you might take as an electrolyte supplement. And so I would certainly recommend staying away from a lot of these sugary drinks. You don't need all the extra sugar and maybe a lot of these extra electrolytes that are coming with them. And if you want more electrolytes, maybe try something a little easier, maybe with something a little more natural. I like to use coconut water because that has a lot of potassium, and so that supplements the potassium I might not be getting from my diet. It also has some magnesium and sodium to help, but you might not need that Gatorade or Powerade that has a lot of these sugars and not quite as many electrolytes as you may think. And so just take a look at some of those electrolytes, see if they match up to the number that I've given you in this video, and see how you can kind of optimize that intake, or see if you really see much of a change if you stop taking those electrolyte supplements. More resources are in the caption.